All right, we're getting going. I'm getting everything streaming. All right. Welcome in, you guys. We are going live. We are talking about Patty the Pacifier, a cute little story about weaning. Let's see, is this connecting? Shows that it's live. Just trying to get this going. Maybe I hit the wrong button. Let's see. All right. Hey, Robin, what up, girlfriend? What up, what up? Hello. Thanks for joining me. I'm just getting my Instagram piece together here. In my life. What is that? What is that? Hello, we are talking pacifier weaning, Patty the Pacifier's next adventure today. A cute little story that is all about, there, is that working now? Is that working? Let's refresh that. I need to change the streaming on that manage connection. Here we go. Here we go. This is what we're talking about. Copy. Welcome in, you guys. So we're talking pacifier weaning and Patty the Pacifier's next adventure. A really, really cute little story that makes talking to your little one about pacifier weaning so much easier, right? Because we know it's one of those more stressful moments in life, right? So when we're talking about pacifier weaning, I know there's a bit of fear around it. It was one of those things that I was super stressed out about. Oh, let me flip my camera. How about that? Let's make life a lot easier so you can actually see what I've got going on, right? Let's flip that. Oh, did I just flip it the wrong way? Yep, I flipped it the wrong way, you guys. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, mirror. That's what I'm trying to turn off. Mirror. That's what we're turning off. Okay. So, I guess I'm not going to get my Instagram going today, huh? Instagram. Let's try this. Try to get my Instagram going. I'm sorry. And then I'm gonna show you everything that we've got going on here. Okay. Successfully. My Instagram's not going, but whatever. So I don't know if any of you have weaned your kiddo off the pacifier, or it's something that you have upcoming. Hey, thank you guys for the likes. You're so sweet. I beyond appreciate that. Thank you so much, Robin. So Patty the Pacifier's next adventure is, thank you, Cynthia, for the follow. Thank you. The sweet story you get to read to your kiddo that actually helps prepare them for weaning off the pacifier. So it's what I prefer, those rhyming stories. I will read the story, don't worry, but I prefer those rhyming stories. It's a little easier for your kiddo to enjoy and more fun for the parent to go with. Thank you for the hearts and the love, you guys. Tap, 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 right? But the back of the book is the pacifier weaning guide. So this is making life a lot easier on the parents, okay? Which everything is tagged below. So Patty the Pacifier's next adventure is tagged below. Thank you for the rose. Oh my gosh, thank you. Tap, 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 hit that like button. So you get the pacifier weaning guide, which is going to walk you step by step, just make life a lot easier on the pacifier weaning. And then if you hit any speed bumps in the process, so the strategy we were trying, we actually realized wasn't working out for our daughter's personality. I have you covered. So we make that easy to navigate. So if you're dealing with any, what do you call it? Setbacks, any setbacks, like if your kiddo gets sick or they become a little bit more hyper aware of the pacifier when you're trying to do the pacifier weaning process, this is going to make your life so much easier. And you can actually start reading them the Patty story before you even get to pacifier weaning, because there's a little bit of prep. It's super easy though. A little bit of prep that goes into it, and this is handling that prep stage for you guys. So this is making that conversation so much easier. You don't have to question really how to talk about it in an age appropriate way, because we know baby is becoming a toddler, they're growing up. It's time for them to move on, right, from the pacifier and have their own fun adventures, right? So it's time for them to have their own fun adventures. But it's also time for Patty the pacifier to move on and help another, maybe a sister or even a brother, because that's a huge thing. So we have a pacifier weaning guide that has helped hundreds of parents get their kiddo off the pacifier in a much easier way. And one of those steps I talk about is, hey, we got to talk to your kiddo about getting rid of the pacifier. So this is what we're accomplishing with this. We're taking care of you, taking care of your kiddo. I say we, it's me. But we are taking care of your kiddo and you, and making the conversation a lot more smooth and more of a bonding moment, which that's how we handle potty training too. I found that any of the, definitely hit that tap button, tap, 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 and share this live as well. Please share this live, because there are going to be parents in your life that are planning on the Thanksgiving break or the Christmas break to do the pacifier weaning, and Patty the Pacifier's next adventure, which you can grab below, is going to make their life a lot easier in dealing with that transition. So Patty the Pacifier is based on the Soothe Beginning pacifier, and with that, we brought her to life as she has, on a cozy, quiet night, in a room full of light, a little friend named Patty was snuggled up tight. Patty was reliable and sweet, always helping baby fall asleep. I know that bond between kiddo and their pacifier is it's love, right? That is everything to them, okay? So we are absolutely acknowledging that relationship and that bond, but we are also acknowledging baby is starting to have more activities and do more, and it's going to be time for a teddy bear, another comfort item. And one of the things we encourage to make this transition even easier. Thank you guys for the likes. Tap, 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 share this live. Thank you so much, because there are parents out there that definitely need this resource. This weaning guide has helped hundreds of parents get their kiddo off the pacifier, which has been really awesome to see. Welcome in, you guys. Welcome, welcome. So Patty the Pacifier is linked below. Also link in the bio. There are more ways to grab it as well. And they are shipping out all the orders tonight. I'm going to be shipping them out first thing in the morning tomorrow. That way you guys can have it before the Thanksgiving holiday break and be prepared, okay? So part of that pacifier weaning process is letting them pick out a stuffed animal. Maybe it's a teddy bear. They can, I don't know, like my daughter loves Spider-Man, so that's probably would be like a Spider-Man plushie right now, would be her comfort item. And you're going to start introducing the story, and you're going to start introducing that comfort item during the daytime, because what's going to happen with that is it's going to make that transition a bit easier as introducing that as a comfort item, and start switching things over as that is now their comfort item, right? We don't want to do any like cold turkey switch up on them, because if you are looking to do gentle weaning, gentle pacifier weaning, share this live, you guys. Hit that like button, share this live. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's just going to make the process so much easier. So finding a comfort item that they're going to be excited about. It could be an Elsa blanket. It could be, I don't know, if they're into mermaids, get them a mermaid. So it's going to be something cute and sweet. And we're going to start introducing that during the daytime, right? Because eventually it's going to become their comfort item at nighttime as well. Unless your child is under 1, which I do have divvied up. If your child is under the age of 1, that is going to look a little different, okay? If they're under the age of 1, I walk you through making it easy to get your kiddo to sleep and get that pacifier is not a sleep cue anymore. So working through other things that are going to become sleep cues so they do in fact fall asleep without the pacifier necessarily being part of that and not essential to getting your kiddo to sleep. And then as far as, over the age of 1, we broke that down as well. With the sleep routine, it's a little easier with kiddos just over the age of 1 because you can give them, that comfort item at bedtime. But I'm walking you through the prerequisite steps, how to do it, how to go about it. If you're looking to do the gentle weaning, if you are looking to do cold turkey, there's just a couple prerequisite steps. One of the prerequisite steps as far as pacifier weaning goes is you're going to do a pacifier roundup. And there's like some really easy, simple things that are going to take you like a couple minutes, if that, to do. That are actually going to make the pacifier weaning process a lot easier and smoother. So when we were doing our pacifier weaning, we did our pacifier roundup. We looked under the couch cushions. We looked everywhere and anywhere trying to find pacifiers, because if your kiddo ends up finding a pacifier, it's not great. It can undo all the progress that you've made, and we want to encourage all this progress. Thank you guys. Keep hitting the tap button, keep liking, keep sharing this live, because there are parents that are definitely going to be needing this. So doing that pacifier roundup is such like a simple tip that's going to make things so much easier for you, right? Because if they're a few weeks down the road, they find a pacifier, they're not giving it up. A lot of this started because my daughter was a pacifier junkie. That pacifier was her absolute best friend, and I was very scared about getting rid of the pacifier. Well, come on in, you guys. I was really scared of getting rid of that pacifier. And so we were doing the pacifier roundup, and both parents have to be on the same page. And it's okay if like one of the parents kind of takes the brunt of the early on pacifier weaning, because you're going to be giving extra cuddles. You're going to need to give extra comfort, right? We don't want to do pacifier weaning when we're going through any major life changes, because there are some indicators that it's not the right time to do pacifier weaning. So if they're sick, if we're adding a new baby, like if we're just adding a new baby to the family, not the time to do pacifier weaning. If you are potty training, not the time to do pacifier weaning. So whatever situation is going on in life that can cause some more adjustments or, emotional, I don't want to say the word disturbance, but a little bit more upset in their life than normal, like starting preschool, that's not going to be the time to wean off the pacifier. So we kind of want to do things when life's a little bit steady going, and that's where a lot of people tend to do it over the holidays. So if you click in and you grab Patty the Pacifier's Next Adventure now, you can have it for the holiday break. That way you are good to go. You have what you need. You can read them all about Patty and go ahead and do that pacifier weaning so much easier. The rhyming story about kiddos growing up, ready to take their next adventure, and Patty the Pacifier is moving on to help another kiddo of her own, is a really sweet way to talk to your kid in an age-appropriate way that it's time to move on from the pacifier, but it's okay. It is, in fact, okay. So doing it when things are a little, even if your kid's easily distractible, so we took advantage, because every kid's personality is going to be different, which is part of the pacifier weaning guide, okay? That if your child is distractible, lean into that. If that's part of their personality, lean into that. If your child is really into, I want to be a big kid, lean into that. So leaning into those things are really going to make this pacifier weaning transition a lot easier. If you're looking to do cold turkey, there still is it's not a lot, very minimal prep work. You read the story to them, you do that pacifier roundup. So you are now in control of when they are in fact getting a pacifier is really, really important versus them just finding one and popping one in. Because we've all seen that, right? That, the kiddo finds a pacifier lying around, they pop it in, and good luck getting it back from them. Keep hitting that tap, 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 you guys. Share this live. Patty the Pacifier, you can grab this down below. So it's that sweet little story about Patty the Pacifier. Moving on. And you get that pacifier weaning guide in the back of the book. We're going to walk you through step by step how to do away with the pacifier in an age appropriate, personality appropriate, right way. When we were doing our pacifier weaning with our daughter, we really did try to do the gentle weaning. A lot of parents want to do the gentle weaning, so we had started that process, and she very quickly realized that we were taking away her pacifier as soon as she got out of her bed. And she would start soccer diving. She would dive and cover it. She started hiding pacifiers. So I was like, ooh, okay. So we're going in the wrong direction, which I do also lay out exactly, literally exactly how with our daughter, we tapped into her personality and did away with the pacifier in one day without tears. So we started the gentle weaning. It wasn't great. It was actually making things worse. So that's where we tapped into her being a distractible 13-month-old and put her into her toddler bed. And she was not looking for that pacifier anymore. Like, they were all gone. She wasn't looking for it. But we totally changed up her bedtime with, like, she has a really great regimented sleep schedule. She has awesome sleep cues. So she had a solid enough bedtime routine that there were other sleep cues like the sound machine. We read stories together. We sing the same song. We sing Baby Beluga. So we were doing a lot of the same things every night to keep things solid, that she would know it was time to go down for bed. And when she no longer had her crib, because it was now a toddler bed in its place, she was good to go. Like lemonade. My daughter calls lemonade lemonade. And I really don't want to correct it. She's 3 now. I totally don't want to correct it. So you can do pacifier weaning basically at any point, right? So we have it broken down for if they're under a year old, how to do that in an age appropriate, safe sleep way. If they're over a year old, it's going to look a little different because there's more things that you can do if they're over a year old and still maintain some safe sleep. So with that, if they are around 6 months, some of the babies actually will start giving up the pacifier on their own, which is kind of interesting. Thank you guys. Tap, tap, tap. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Let's go. Let's get this out to parents. Around 6 months old, sometimes they'll spit it out. And if you have a kiddo that is, 4 or 5 months old and the pacifier is actually waking them up at night, you don't have to keep putting it back in. You can actually do away with the pacifier if it's becoming what's called a sleep crutch, right? If it's actually going to start interrupting their sleep, you can actually take away the pacifier at that point. You don't actually have to give it back. Or you can make the choice to train them to put the pacifier back in their own mouth. So there's a couple of ways you can go about that, and you can make your decision on what feels right for you and your family. But yeah, if you opt to train them and put the pacifier back, you're going to have to obviously do the pacifier weaning a little bit more down the road, but that's where we, walk you through. I walk you through it. I make it super duper duper easy. I'm a huge fan of pacifier weaning just a little bit after their first birthday, because it's going to be like before they start hitting those like really big emotions. Thanks for joining, you guys. Hit that tap, 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 like, and share this live. So Patty the Pacifier is available below. It's the pacifier weaning, cute little rhyming story you read your kiddo about the pacifier moving on to help another, maybe a sister or even a brother, and your kiddo is also growing up themselves. And onto their next adventure, which is really kind of cool to see. And then the back of the book, you've got that pacifier weaning guide to make your life a lot easier. So if they are over that age of 1, we are talking about that because it's really great at that point before they start hitting those really, really big emotions and have a much harder time with the pacifier weaning. that I found to be a really good sweet spot because we don't want to wait so long that we are going to be affecting oral development. So pacifiers have incredible health benefits in that first front end 6 months of life, up to a year. Really great health benefits. More so that front loaded 6 months of life, right? But it is easier to get rid of the pacifier after they hit a year because you have more tools in your tool belt to do it. Because we don't need to worry about the oral development element as much. So evidence based, they don't see anything. And this is according to the Academy of Pediatric Dentists until that second 6 months of life is when we can start to see some oral development changes from pacifiers. Because don't forget, that's when the teeth do in fact start coming in, right? So in those earlier months of life, it's more so about working those oral feeding muscles and getting all the benefits, because pacifiers are linked to reducing the risk of SIDS, which is great. But again, we don't want your kiddo stuck with a pacifier all the way up to kindergarten if we can help it. And that's what we're trying to make it a little bit easier, because we know they are going to be managing some emotions. So Patty the pacifier makes managing those emotions so much easier. And you definitely can grab this down below. Um, which is fabulous. We love when things are easy, especially with toddlers and babies. When things are easier, it makes life better. And that was my goal, because I really was scared. I was scared of pacifier weaning, and I was scared of potty training. Those were my two. I was a little nervous there for those. And you can grab Patty the Pacifier's Next Adventure down below, which again does come with that pacifier weaning guide to make your life a lot easier. I am going to read some of the book, and this is like the whole mirror thing, so you know we'll make it work. Don't worry. So Patty the Pacifier's Next Adventure. On a cozy, quiet night in a room full of light, a little friend named Patty was snuggled up tight. Patty was reliable and sweet, always helping the baby fall asleep. So you can see Patty and baby. But Patty knew something true. Baby was growing, and it was time to do something new. Baby, my dear, you've grown so strong. My job here won't be too long. I've helped you sleep and take good care, but now you're ready for a teddy bear. This squishy, huggable friend is here, ready for cuddles, never fear. Thank you guys. Tap, tap, tap. Hit that like. Hit the share button. Patty whispered in the night, it's almost time to take your flight. So we show baby getting a little bit older, growing up, her starting to move on as well, right? But don't be sad, my little one, for this next part will be so much fun. I'll go on to help another, maybe a sister or even a brother. I had a lot of people reaching out with the pacifier weaning that they were introducing a new baby to the family, you know, a sibling was coming along and they were worried about that transition. So I purposefully included that as part of Patty's story, that if there's a little sibling that has a pacifier, Patty has gone on to help that sibling, and that's okay, because Patty still has a job to do and is going to help other kiddos as, you know, you're growing up, right? Baby smiled and gave a hug. Patty felt so much love. Thank you, Patty, for all you've done. Now I'm ready to have some fun. Patty waved and floated high, saying, goodbye, my love, don't you cry. I love this part. With a swoosh and a twirl, Patty flew, ready for more adventure too. Now baby, feeling brave and strong, was ready to form a new bond. So this is where we're showing baby with her little teddy bear now. For Patty's love will always stay in baby's heart day by day. The end of one adventure, but not the last. Patty's impact will forever last. And you can drop any questions you have about pacifier weaning. I will go through tips, tricks, all the goodies for you. Because I want you to feel comfortable and confident in your pacifier weaning journey. There's a lot of stress around it, a lot of unknowns around it, and that's where we are really trying to make life a little bit easier for you parents. Good night, sweet baby. Rest your head. Patty's comfort is now your bed. Thank you, Dana, for the like. Thank you, thank you. And then it goes into that pacifier weaning guide, which is for the parents on how to do the pacifier weaning. So we have it divided up for under one, over one, as well as our individual pacifier weaning story and what we specifically did with our daughter Isla, who was 13 months old at the time. So you can grab Patty the Pacifier's Next Adventure down below. You can click into this link and you can grab it. And there's also a couple other places to grab it, link in the bio, as well for Patty the Pacifier. But I wrote this out of love because the pacifier weaning guide has helped hundreds of parents get their kiddos off the pacifier in a much easier way. Kind of like knowing, like, even something as simple as the pacifier roundup before you start the weaning process is going to make things a lot smoother for you and a lot easier for you. Drop any questions you have. So, because that pacifier weaning guide was such a hit, that's where I created Patty to help talking to your toddler about pacifier weaning. And it's a super cute story that even kiddos that are off the pacifier now are actually still enjoying the story, which is really, really sweet. And, makes me happy inside to see that they really like Patty. She's a little cutie patootie, that Patty. So the illustrator did such a good job. And I love how, the color and the illustrations all came out. So if you are watching this on live, you can click into the link. So if you're on all the other platforms, you can click into the link and grab Patty. If you are here on TikTok, you can, it's Patty Pacifiers right down below. We do have a digital version as well if you do want it, in fact, tonight and start looking through the pacifier weaning guide, things of that nature as well. So with the pacifier weaning guide, there's a really nice introduction of that when you're weaning a child off a pacifier can be a daunting task. I think we can all agree. But with patience, consistency is going to be a key here. It can be done effectively. We'll talk about strategies that incorporate gentle weaning and optional cold turkey strategy. Both are going to require a little bit of prep, to prepare your child and not come as a shock, as the pacifier is their comfort item, right? So I share our story on how we weaned without crying on the last page. Additional support is mentioned as well. Welcome, and remember to give yourself grace. So we go into, it's a little bit more common, obviously the over 1-year-olds. So everything is about, we talk about timing, preparing your toddler, gradually limiting pacifier use. And then we're going to go into positive reinforcement is huge. So if you have, your kiddo goes a couple hours without the pacifier, use that positive reinforcement. It goes such a long way. It really, really does. And that helped her feel excited, her feel empowered. It helped us along the process to focus more so on the positives. And with the pacifier weaning, you're going to have stressful moments and times in your life. And if you can do it when you've got a little bit more emotional leeway to give, pacifier weaning and potty training, you got to do it when you've got a little bit more bandwidth, right? Because that's going to make things a bit easier. So Patty the Pacifier is definitely making this doable, making pacifier weaning achievable in a really, really great way to bond with your kiddo when you're going through that process. Because we don't want your little one to feel alone. I don't want your little one to feel stressed out, right? You obviously aren't going to want a stressed out toddler. So Patty the Pacifier helps, which you can grab below. Patty the Pacifier's Next Adventure makes pacifier weaning a much less daunting task, and helps you do it together as a family, because it does take the family. It does take extra love, extra care, extra attention. And, during the day, if they're having an upset emotional moment, giving them that teddy bear or that comfort item that they picked out as a first line versus just going right for the pacifier is going to make that transition quite a bit easier. Keep hitting the tap, tap, taps, you guys. Keep hitting the likes. Keep hitting the shares. Thank you so much. Rockstar Dad Academy, you have been fantastic. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, tap, tap, tap. Thank you. Appreciate that. What, Rockstar Dad Academy, what were you most nervous about? The hair on my nose. I think it's a cat hair. Too many cats. What was your biggest fear about pacifier weaning? Drop that below, because I definitely want to talk about it. I'm very curious. And I know Robin, who's here in the comment section. Hey, Robin. Her kiddo ended up not taking a pacifier, but really enjoys Patty the Pacifier story. And poor Robin at this point has told me she knows the whole thing inside of. She probably knows this book better than I do at this point. So her kiddo just really, really, really enjoys the Patty the Pacifier story. And I do have to say, her kiddo is a very sweet, empathetic, kind little girl. That at 3 years old to have that big of a heart is really sweet to see. So I think that's why she really likes Patty. Really, really do. I did make the story rhyming. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys like? I like the rhymey because you can get more sing-songy with the story. Like, those have been my favorite books to read to our daughter, because like the ones that aren't rhyming, I have like a cat hair on my nose, guys. The storybooks I found that like aren't like rhymey, I don't love reading as much as a parent. I really have liked like the sing-songy kind of rhyming books. I just found those to be more fun to read. You can get into it. You can do silly voices. I'm trying to think, what are some of our favorite books? I really like reading Go Dog Go. That's one of my favorite ones right now to read. Pout Pout Fish. Oh, I do that in a very sing-songy way. So I took that love for those types of stories, and that's what we applied to Patty the Pacifier's Next Adventure, which you can grab it below. And you will have it in time for Thanksgiving. So if you are planning on doing pacifier weaning over the holiday break when your kiddo is home, so you can give extra care, extra attention, extra love, and make those bonding moments, you will have that in time. I am going to go to the post office tomorrow morning and ship those out, which is going to be phenomenal. Yeah, so if you are somebody that's, totally into like that sing-songy rhyming, those are cute. Oh, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. That one's really, really fun to read. That's a cute one because of how like easy it is to get into it. And I don't know if you ever read Snuggle Puppy. Robin, have you read Snuggle Puppy? That book is so cute. And it actually has, it's a Sandra Boynton book. And it has it actually has a song to it, like how you actually sing it. And my daughter actually really likes it. I haven't, Rosa likes biology for kids. Well, that makes sense. That absolutely does make sense. So, Patty the Pacifier, you've got that super sweet, rhyming, sing-songy type story. And then that magical pacifier weaning guide. So we've had hundreds of parents at this point have grabbed the Pacifier Weaning Guide and used it, and there have been some really cool success stories. So obviously, I know I'm the person that wrote the Pacifier Weaning Guide and the Pacifier Weaning book, but we were in fact able to get our kiddo off the pacifier, and she loved her pacifier. She was hooked to her pacifier. We were able to do it in a day without any tears. We tapped into her personality, which I tell you how to do, tapped into her personality and realized what was working for her, because along that prep work, we realized the slow weaning, gentle weaning wasn't going to work because she was actually becoming hyper vigilant of her pacifier. So that's where that pacifier roundup was really, really big. Starting to have those conversations was really big. And so we did the pacifier weaning. She was 13 months old. So she was still a little young to have the conversations, but she was old enough to enjoy stories and books and cute little rhyming books. She really enjoyed doing that. Thank you guys for sharing the live, liking the live. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Share this, like this, keep hitting that button. I super appreciate that, you guys. Yeah, if anybody has any pacifier weaning questions, or if you're in the process of pacifier weaning and hitting some struggle bumps, drop them below. Is anybody here gonna be pacifier weaning soon? What are your thoughts? What's your strategy? What's your game plan? Because we totally had that game plan of a lot of parents don't still have. Oh, I got it. It was a cat fur. A lot of parents have the game plan of doing that slow and gentle weaning, but it does require just a couple of preemptive steps that make things a lot smoother, right? But you can grab Patty the Pacifier's next adventure down below in the video, linked in the video. If you're watching elsewhere, you can absolutely grab this in the bio as well. So we've got a couple formats that you can grab it, which is nice. I tried to make it as easy and approachable for parents as possible. I thought that, yeah, pacifier weaning, like I was nervous and really, I was really nervous to do that as a parent because she truly, like our daughter had the pacifier in her mouth everywhere. I don't know if any of you watching have that experience with your kiddo, but she loved the pacifier. Like she absolutely loved her pacifier. So that's where like it really was like that overwhelming feeling of like, how are we gonna do this? What are we gonna do? And that's where like research. And at that point, I had already started the Soothe Beginnings company. So I had already started, working on pacifiers. I was already a pacifier expert at that point. But it was like, okay, one of the big fears from parents is that pacifier weaning. How are we doing this? When are we doing this? I get that question a lot. Is when should you ditch the pacifier? And I don't know any other pacifier company that is helping people ditch the pacifier. But we look at evidence-based information here and looking at the recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatric Dentists has been really, really instrumental in the timeframes I give for ditching the pacifier. But every kid's going to be different, okay? That is just point blank. Every kiddo is super different, and there needs to be room for that. Every family is different, and there also needs to be room for that as well. And that was one of the goals that I wanted to accomplish with the pacifier weaning guide included in the Patty the Pacifier book, was keeping that in mind. There are some kiddos that aren't ready to give it up until after 2 years old, 3 years old, so it's going to look different family to family. I mean, if you're in the process of moving, or they're having any major life transitions, or they're potty training, or they're starting school, those are not the times to do the pacifier weaning. You want to hold off. Any major life changes is not the time to do the pacifier weaning, okay? So those are the moments that we just want to hit the pause button and kind of get through whatever major life adjustments are going on. Because if your kiddo is going through some life changes, they're going to need extra comfort. Welcoming you guys. They're going to need some extra comfort. Thank you for the like, Buckle Me Baby coats. Oh, I love her coats. They are amazing. Absolutely amazing. So she is the coolest product. So parents watching, we know it is not safe to put a winter coat on your kiddo in the car seat. It's not. Um, they're not restrained successfully, is the wording I will use. So the straps are not as effective if there is a puffy winter coat. So, especially when you live in a colder climate, like we are originally from New England, there kind of really isn't a choice to not use a winter coat. So it's like, what do you do? She's so smart. She invented a winter coat that is, in fact, car seat safe, that the straps are on the kiddo and not over the puff. The straps are on the kiddo, and the back of the coat is like super thin, but still warm. So they are the car seat. Yeah, it's so cool. It's so, so, so cool. Yeah, Robin lives in Texas, so this is not a her problem. This is more of like a us northerner Yankee problem. But it's so cool that she did the individual crash testing and that her winter coats do not impact the security of a car seat with that winter coat on versus not. Super cool invention, safety first invention, and she is just a rock star. And it's one of my favorite inventions I have ever come across. It just is that cool. So, coming from up north, like you get it because like you're cold all the time, and like if it's like 20 degrees out, how are you not putting on your coat on your kid to walk outside? Like you just kind of can't. So that becomes one of the necessities. But the other element that I really like is that she made it so that you can typically get a couple seasons out of those winter coats. So it's not just like, because you know, with like baby and toddler clothes, it's like they wear it for like a month or two, like a couple months, and then they outgrow it. Hers are so that you can actually get it's just very cool. But again, I do have to say, because I know the AI is listening, that Patty the Pacifier's next adventure down below. If you don't say it, the AI gets on your butt. But yeah, anyways, so just one of those really, really, really cool products that just so smart, so incredibly smart, genius product, and sleep sacks that the feet zip across, so you actually can put your kiddo in their sleep sack in the car seat safely, and then convert them over into their bed. Just very cool product line, very cool inventions, very parents like ease of use focused, but then safety focused. So the marriage of like convenience and safety is obviously something I'm all about. So it sings to me. I love it. I'm a huge fan. So check out Buckle Me Baby Coats. She's amazing. So if you're just joining us, welcome on in. Welcome. Keep hitting those like buttons. Tap, 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 tap. Keep sharing this because there's going to be somebody in your life that is trying to do pacifier weaning for the holidays. And let's just make their life a little bit easier. So you've got that sweet little story that you read your kiddo that Robin here in the live can attest to. Is just a really great story that her kiddo wants to read over and over and over and over again, even though she's no longer on the pacifier. And she actually stopped. She never really got addicted to one. Like our daughter Isla was so on the pacifier. And it's funny because I look back at pictures of my daughter and I feel like there are like minimal pictures where she doesn't have a pacifier in her mouth. Like she just was living, breathing with a pacifier in her mouth all the time. She only liked the pacifier for maybe a few weeks and then she hated it after that. So she was probably enjoying the pacifier as far as her sucking reflex would take her, and that was that. is probably what happened. Whereas Isla, we went through so many pacifiers, which is what sparked all of Soothe Beginnings. And as a pacifier company, it sparked the Pacifier Weaning Guide to make life easy on parents. Because if you can take one thing off a parent's plate, it's like gold, right? That is in fact what makes life a much easier place as a parent. Because people will tell you, oh, good luck getting rid of the pacifier. Well, now you don't need the luck. Now you got Patty, who's going to make your life so much better. So yeah, it's just a sweet, sweet, sweet little story. Again, it's a cute little rhyming story. Patty the pacifier is baby's obviously best friend companion. But oh, thank you so much, Aubrey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you for the roses, you guys. Thank you. Thanks, Aubrey. Keep hitting that tap tap. Keep hitting that like button. I appreciate you guys so incredibly much. And any pacifier questions you have, pacifier questions, pacifier weaning questions, or even about the weaning guide itself or anything like that, just drop them below because like I'm answering you guys' questions tonight. Any way I can make your life easier, that's what I'm here for. So thank you guys so much. So Patty is, you know, your kiddo's best friend, and obviously they do everything together, right? And as you can see here, they are besties. But baby is starting to take on new adventures and do new things, and baby is starting to grow up and is going to be growing up more. So it's time to make new friends and get a teddy bear or another comfort item because Patty also needs to move on and help another, maybe a sister or even a brother. So with the pacifier weaning guide, a lot of parents were saying, you know, we've got another baby, you know, in the family now, and how do we make it okay that our baby is on a pacifier, but our toddler is too old for one? Like, how do you approach that? So that's where Patty is in fact addressing that. So we only have one child, so we didn't have the scenario of one pacifier addict and then another baby on the way and trying to make that okay. One thing that, and every kiddo, obviously, because their personalities are going to be different, one thing that we did discuss with our daughter Isla, because I've got a pacifier company, I've got pacifiers all over this place, right? There's just everywhere. Was that pacifiers are for babies and she's becoming a big girl. So like having those conversations with her was really what was helpful. The only way it backfired though is like if we're in a store and she sees a toddler with a pacifier, she'll say, pacifiers are for babies. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. So like she's saying that, but I have pacifiers in the house. So it's like I can't have her, you know. So she knows that the pacifiers are for babies. Thank you guys for the likes. 5,000 likes. I love that. Thank you. Hit that tap, tap, tap. Hit the share button. Let's help out some other parents that are going to need Patty at some point to make life easier. To the rescue, right? Patty to the rescue. So yeah, it's just really, really sweet story. Now, if your kiddo is under the age of 1, it's not going to be safe sleep to give them a stuffed animal to sleep with. Like during the day, during like wake hours, that's obviously going to be different. So what I did actually work on the pacifier weaning guide, especially for the under 1-year-olds, with the advisement. Well, under 1 and over 1, I took advisement from a couple of sleep consultants because that's a big fear. Is like, how are we going to get sleep if we don't have the pacifier anymore? Because it is just that big of a part of the routine, right? So they were super helpful and super sweet, and just double, triple checked everything that I was doing. So if your kiddo is under the age of 1, we want to, if age appropriate, doing swaddling. If they are starting to roll, obviously that is no longer age appropriate. You know, we can incorporate swaying and shushing and doing those other soothing mechanisms to help them get back to sleep. That's really important versus obviously after the age of 1, you can offer them that teddy bear. You can offer them different, it's a little bit easier for sure because they're not using that sucking as much as a soothing mechanism anymore after that age point. Hello, Fresh Squeeze Lactation. That is Miss Dana. She's a really great lactation consultant, and she's so helpful to new parents. And her course for low milk supply is on sale right now for Black Friday. Link is in the bio for that, by the way. But yeah, that is fantastic. But if you are just joining us, you can grab your copy of Patty the Pacifier's Next Adventure. How cute is Patty? With that bonus pacifier weaning guide. down below. You can grab that below. If you're watching elsewhere, you can click into this video and grab Patty the Pacifier's next adventure to make pacifier weaning so much cuter, easier, less stressful. You know, everywhere from a couple of steps that you're going to take before you actually do the pacifier weaning, all the way through to if there's a regression, some safety tips. One of the safety tips that's going to be really important, I'm surprised I'm just bringing this up now. When it comes to pacifier weaning, we don't want to cut the pacifier. That is going to be really important for a couple of reasons. Pacifiers are not intended to be cut. That is actually a safety hazard. So I do have safety tips in the pacifier weaning guide here. So we don't want to cut that pacifier. It creates a sharp edge that can cut the baby, but you're also opening up the inside of that pacifier that's not intended to be opened up. We don't want sharp edges. We don't want choking hazards. So that is actually going to be something that we're going to totally take off the plate here. And a lot of people have been sharing that as a hack, but unfortunately it's not safe. There are other things that we can do, other ways to make this a bit easier as well. You know, reading Patty the Pacifier is going to jumpstart that conversation with the kiddo in an age appropriate and cute. Thank you for the likes, you guys. Keep hitting that tap, 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 tap. Keep hitting the share button. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. So that is just going to approach that in a much better way. So if your child is also teething, so right around age 2, they start getting those molars. So if you're waiting around that 2nd birthday to do the pacifier weaning, just please keep that in mind, that if they're really going through the rough bout of teething, because those molars are tough, wait till teething has gotten through the worst of it before we do wean off the pacifier. Because if they're going through sickness, discomfort, you know, teething, pain, that's not something that we want to take away a comfort, a soothing mechanism for during that point in time. And what my husband and I have found has been very, very helpful as far as pacifier weaning goes, potty training, sleep, any of those like major adjustments for your kiddo, is we got on the same page together. However, one of us, me, I was the primary caretaker. I've been home with our daughter. I would kind of lead the charge in the big changes. So my husband knew what was going on and what the game plan was, but I would kind of lead it and kind of get it going and get it started. Thank you for the roses, you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the roses. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. So like I would lead the charge and I would start in, and then when she started kind of getting the hang of it is when my husband would then come in for, you know, to reinforce the pacifier weaning. But he knew the game plan. He knew the strategy I was going to incorporate, and I had to communicate with him. Okay, we're going through pacifier weaning. Pacifier roundup accomplished, right? Like go through your car, I'll go through mine, right? So that part is accomplished. I'm going to start taking her pacifier after she wakes up. So the pacifier became crib time only at that point for her. And so he was like, all right, he was on game plan. So if he did in fact get her, you know, awake for the day or out of her crib after a nap time, he would grab her pacifier. But that's where me communicating to him. So he was following the consistency in the game plan, but I had to communicate. I was like, hey, she's starting to like hoard her pacifiers, and like I don't know how else to describe it, like a soccer dive, cover her mouth. Like she was starting to get more, like she was becoming hyper vigilant over her pacifier. I addressed that. That is addressed, okay, in the weaning guide. What to do if things are not going the right way. So we were trying to do that like slow, gentle weaning. I was like, oh, it's getting worse. So that's where I was like, okay, game plan, husband, let's talk. that is where we ended up realizing she's associating her crib with the pacifier. And at that point, the crib was on its lowest setting because she was over a year old. The crib was on its lowest setting and she was standing, she's starting to climb soon. So it was time to transition her to the toddler bed. And her personality type was very distractible at that age. So it was before she super hit those big feelings, but she was in that sweet spot of like really distractible. So that's where we switched her to the toddler bed, and then the pacifier was just no more. There were no tears, but because we did that pacifier roundup, that is where life was a lot easier on her not finding one and going back. Because here's the thing, if you give the pacifier back, and this is again where all the caretakers, whether it's parents, grandparents, whoever the caretakers are that are going to be there during this process, need to be on the same page of do not give the pacifier back, right? Because you kind of have like one lead person, whoever the primary caregiver is kind of running the show here. Do not give the pacifier back unless they get sick, illness, something going on that you're like, we just need to get through this and then we'll start over. Outside of that, do not give the pacifier back because they know now. They know that the time is coming to an end. So that's why you don't want to give that pacifier back, because it will make it so much harder when you do restart that process. And they say the same exact thing with potty training is you're going to have to stick with it and just kind of go unless something major comes up, right? So that's where you do want to be very aware of that. And you can drop any pacifier or weaning questions, pacifier questions, weaning questions, weaning guide questions, story questions, any of that stuff. Just drop that down below. This is definitely a two-way conversation of I'm just here to help. That's really it. Tonight's orders are being shipped out first thing in the morning. So you can definitely go below and grab Patty the Pacifier's next adventure. Click on it. She's available. I'm shipping them out in the morning. That way, anyone that's trying to get ahead of it for the holidays. Because obviously the kiddos are going to be home. So my daughter is home all of next week. So a lot of parents are taking advantage of that extra time at home to do the pacifier weaning, potty training, those fun things. But it really doesn't have to be bad. And that is exactly the goal. It doesn't have to be bad. It isn't bad. It's a lot easier than you would think it is, as long as you have the right resource and game plan and tapping into your kiddo's personality. There are going to be some kiddos that are, I'm a big kid. Tap into that. You're a big kid. Okay, that's the direction we're going in. You get to pick out your own new comfort item and start introducing that comfort item during the day and giving them praise. It's so incredibly important. Going through that process, pay attention to their emotional state, okay? They're going to have some bigger emotions because we just kind of took away their vice, right? It's like somebody that if their emotional vice is eating and now we take that away from them, they're going to be a little on edge and they might be seeking out other comforts in life, right? So do keep that in mind as you're going through it, giving them extra cuddles, extra love, a little extra bonding time, reading Patty, to kind of help instill it's time for the pacifier to move on. It's time for you to move on, and it's okay. It can be a little sad, but it's okay, and it will, in fact, be okay. So addressing that part of it with them and having that conversation, this is making it a lot easier. I personally, my husband is really the good one at getting creative with our daughter and doing creative stories and putting things in terms that she understands really well. And so he's done such a good job of that. Whereas I'm somebody more so that needs something like this. I'm somebody that needs a cute little rhyming story to kind of bring up the topic in an age appropriate way. And it definitely makes things more approachable for my daughter, right? Because then we can talk about the story, right? And we can have that conversation. And she likes the story too, which is cute, even though she's off the path. She's the one that inspired all of this. But yeah, it's just really, really sweet. But then having what to actually do and avoid also makes things so much easier. Thank you guys for the hearts, the likes, the love, the roses. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I super appreciate that. Let's see. But you can grab Patty the Pacifier's next adventure down below. We're shipping them out in the morning. So you've got that sweet, cute little story about Patty and her kiddo. And the back of the book, you have that pacifier reading guide to make things so much easier, whether your kiddo is over 1 versus under the age of 1, whatever lane you're living in, to make pacifier weaning a much less stressful journey for everybody involved. Let's see. I'm going to be getting off in just a moment. So any follow-up questions you guys have, let me know. I'm going to go through and I'm going to read Patty the Pacifier's next adventure one last time, but drop any questions that you might have below as well, and I will absolutely answer those for you. I've been getting a lot of messages as well, people not wanting to publicly ask questions about what they're doing to wean off the pacifier. Things like that's okay too. Definitely feel like you can reach out to me because I'm more than happy to help. So Patty the Pacifier's next adventure. On a cozy, quiet night in a room full of light. There we go. A little friend named Patty was snuggled up tight. Patty was reliable and sweet, always helping baby fall asleep. But Patty knew something true. Baby was growing, and it was time to do something new. Baby, my dear, you've grown so strong. My job here won't be too long. I've helped you sleep and took good care, but now you're ready for a teddy bear. This squishy, huggable friend is here, ready for cuddles, never fear. Patty whispered in the night, it's almost time to take your flight. But don't be sad, my little one, for this next part will be so much fun. I'll go on to help another, maybe a sister or even a brother. Baby smiled and gave a hug. Patty felt so much love. Thank you, Patty, for all you've done. Now I'm ready to have some fun. Patty waved and floating high sang, goodbye, my love, don't you cry. With a swoosh and a twirl, Patty flew, ready for more adventures too. Now, baby, feeling brave and strong, was ready to form a new bond. For Patty's love will always stay in baby's heart, day by day. The end of one adventure, but not the last, Patty's impact will forever last. Good night, sweet baby, rest your head. Patty's comfort is now your bed. And then it goes into that pacifier weaning guide, broken down by age, taking into account your kiddo's personality, different weaning strategies as well. And then in the back, how we got our daughter off the pacifier without any tears. Let me know if you have any question. Again, the orders tonight are going to be shipping out tomorrow. And I'm here if you need anything. Happy pacifier weaning. All right.